So we'll get Japji side. And VG covered the power of the One, the gifts of the One, and the qualities of the One can only really be known by the One. It's very hard for us to know all of these things. We don't know the extent of the One. And VG also talked about how close the One is. I think he said it's like having a CCTV camera on you 24/7. And he also told the Sakhi about the Guru Sikhs who were close to Guru Gobind Singh Ji. They were so close, but their minds were so far away. And those that were so far away physically, their minds were so close to Guruji. And then he talked about the provider that never gets tired of giving us things. So we're going to jump straight into it now with Bodhi number 4. And in this Bodhi, the Siddhs asked Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they said, this one that you talk about, this king, this Sahib, what makes them different from all the other kings? Why are they different? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, Sacha Sahib, Sachanai. Meaning that true is that master and true is their name. Now the word Sacha or Sat, this is the 7th and 8th time this has come up in Japji Sahib, and we're only on the 4th Bodhi. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji is really sort of re-emphasizing this notion of truth, that this is the true message and that one is the truth. Right? Sacha Sahib, Sachanai. So just to give an example of this, Emperor Jahangir was the emperor of the whole of India, and they spent a lot of time with Guru Har Gobind Sahib, our 6th Guru. And what would happen was people would come up to them, they'd come up to Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, and they'd call them Sacha Sahib or Sache Badshah. They'll call them the true king. And Emperor Jahangir is looking at this and they're thinking, you know what? I'm the ruler of this whole land. How comes they're calling me emperor, but Sacha Sahib, the true king, they're calling Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji that? So what happened was, once the convoy was walking through a jungle and the convoy was attacked by a vicious lion. Now the only one that stood up to the lion was Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji. Now they took the lion's strike on their shield, they threw the lion to the floor and struck it with their sword in their other hand. And as they killed the lion, the soul of this lion left the lion's body. As this soul was coming up, even the emperor can see this soul has just come out of the lion's body, and he's looking up and he calls out to it. He says, "Who are you?" And this soul, as it's going up, it stops and it talks to the emperor. And it says, "In my past life, I was your uncle. Emperor Akbar was my brother." And he said, what happened was, my brother Emperor Akbar met a Guru Amrit Vela, the third Guru of the Sikhs. And they said they paid a lot of respect to Guruji, which I didn't like. And he goes, so what I did was I slandered them. I slandered them both. I slandered Guruji and I slandered Emperor Akbar so much. And he goes, that day that I slandered them, I ate meat. And he said, this meat was really uncooked. It was a little bit raw. And he said, that night I had really bad pains in my stomach. And he goes, it was so bad, I knew I was going to die at that time. And he goes, 2 things happened. He said, as I left my body, I thought about 2 things. One of them cursed me and one of them blessed me. Now, one of the things he thought about was the meat. He said, I'm going to die now because of that raw meat that I ate earlier on in the day. And so for that, he was cursed with the life of a lion to eat that raw meat now in his next life. But he also was blessed because he had a second thought about Guru Amrit Vela Ji. The same Guru they had done so much slander of before during the day, they had a thought about them, and for that thought alone, they were blessed. They were blessed with a blessing that same lineage of Gurus, that same line from Guru Amrit Vela Ji right the way to Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji would be the same line that blesses them to be free of this cycle of birth and death, that they won't have to be born anymore. And he goes, so here he is. Here is Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji upholding that blessing. This is why they're in the jungle. And as his soul starts going up, it looks at Emperor Jahangir and says, you know what? You're really lucky. You're really lucky you're here with Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji. We're very lucky. Emperor Jahangir is thinking, blimey. Not only are they calling him Sache Badshah, But Guruji can actually give people mukti. They can bless them with all this power they have. So some time passed, and Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji and Emperor Jahangir were now in the city of Agra. And each of them had their own tent, massive tent. And what happened one day was a very simple grass cutter came. And he said to the guards, I'm here to see Satya Sahib, the true king. I'm here to see them. And the guards, they were Emperor Jahangir's guards. And they went to the emperor and they said, they're here to see you, Maharaj, the Satya Sahib. Emperor Jahangir got really happy. They're like, finally, someone's calling me Satya Sahib. They're like, let him in, bring him in. Let's talk to them. So this simple grass cutter comes in. He sees this man on a throne, a royal turban, jewels all over them. And he falls to his feet and he matta takes. He pulls out a sack of grass and 2 coins. And he goes, oh, Sache Badshah. He goes, this is all I've got and I'm giving it to you. All of this is all my belongings. I'm giving it to you now. And Jahangir got really happy. He was like, oh, brilliant. Thank you for your offering. What can I give you in return? What do you want from me? He goes, I don't want anything worldly. All I want is liberation, that I'm never born again. I don't want to be born again. I want to merge with the one. I want to complete that journey. Emperor Jahangir's thinking, here I was thinking I was a Sache Badshah finally. He looked at the man, he said, no. He said, that's the other tent. That's Guruji you got to go to, Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji. So the grass cutter picks up his grass, picks up 2 of his coins, and as he's leaving, Emperor Jahangir says, wait. He says, take these gold coins of mine. Take these. Don't worry about those 2 coins. They're not that valuable. The grass cutter looks at Emperor Jahangir and says, why would I do that? He said, these 2 coins might not be worth as much as your gold ones, but at least I earned them honestly. I know where they came from. He said, these gold coins of yours, I don't know where they came from. I don't know what you've had to do to earn them. He goes, I'm not giving those to Guruji. And so he went to Guruji and Guruji ended up blessing them. He blessed them, Guruji blessed them to merge with the one. And it's amazing, isn't it? Sometimes we lose sight of this fact. When we hear Sakya of Guruji blessing these Sikhs, we actually forget that Guruji has been doing it and they are doing it. And they will be doing it. That's what Guruji is here for. They're here to bless us. They're here to link us. If you remember back to the Moon Mantra talk, they're here to link us back to the one. That's their job. Okay, so now the Siddhs asked, okay, so we understand that there's Satya Sahib. What about this Sach Nai? What about this Sach Nai? Their name is true. So, sometimes when people get in trouble, especially people born in Southall, they tend to say, don't you know who I am? Sorry. I'm sorry, guys. But it's true. They either say, don't you know who I am? Or they say, don't you know who my brother is? Don't you know who my mate is? Don't you know? Sorry. I'm getting proper cuts from down here. I'm not even going to look. But yeah, it's true. That's what these Southallians say, right? Now, these names that they come out with, these names, Falana Singh, whoever it is, it might hold a little bit of weight in this world. It might do. But that name isn't going to save us in the next world. That person isn't going to save us in the next world. No matter who we are, no matter who our big brother is, right? It's not going to save us. But if we're a Sikh of Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji, if we're a Sikh of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, well, that is a name that lasts. That is a stamp that we can see here in this world and in the next world. So that's why it's true. It's not temporary, it's permanent. Sach Nai. Now the Siddhs also asked, they said, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, what language does the one speak? There's so many kings, even in this land of India, there's so many different kingdoms. They've all got their own cultures. They've got their own cultures, they've got their own languages as well. But what language does the one speak? Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Pakya Pao Apar. Meaning language, love, infinite. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj is saying that the language of the one is love. As long as it's said with love, they understand it. Why? Because they're infinite, they're apar, they understand it. It can also mean that there's many languages of love for the one. So just to give you an example of this, a very long time ago, there was a famous Bhagat called Swami Ramanand Ji. Now, Swami Ramanandaji was a Bhagat, a very holy person, and their Bani is actually within Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Right? So they're very famous, very holy, and one day a man travelled to see them, and he came from very far away. And he's looking at Swamiji and he thinks to himself, right, Swamiji is surrounded by so many followers, like Guru Granth Sahib Ji is surrounded by all of us. He's looking at Swamiji and he's thinking, you know what? I want to speak with Swamiji one-on-one. I want a one-on-one conversation with Swamiji, but how am I going to do it? So this guy hangs around for ages, so many days pass, and then he finally gets his opportunity. He sees Swamiji going into their house by themselves. They go into their house and he rushes in behind Swamiji. Swamiji hears a door open, turns around, and he looks, and no one's in front of him, but someone's just laying on the floor, grabbing his feet. This guy's just holding Swamiji's feet so tight. Swamiji says, who are you, and what are you doing in my house holding my feet? He looks up, he goes, Swamiji, please bless me with a teaching. Please teach me something. I've come from so far, I've waited so long to have this conversation with you. Please, now I'm here with you, now we're one-on-one, come on, teach me something. Swamiji says, now's not the time, let go of my feet. He wouldn't let go. He's holding on so tight, he's like, no, you got to teach me something, you got to teach me something. I'm not leaving until you teach me something. Now, Swamiji's got a jug in their hand. This jug was for the Sangat. They get quite annoyed. They say, Pajta, lotta marange. They say, get out of here, Pajta, or lotta, this jug, marange. I'll hit you with this jug, you better get out of here now. The guy looks up, he hears this, lets go of Swamiji's feet straight away. Lets go of Swamiji's feet and gets out of the house. Now some time passes and Swamiji's followers come to see them. And they say, Swamiji, we're really annoyed at the moment. Swamiji goes, why? They said, what you taught that man that day has made him so famous that everyone knows about them, but yet we're here. And their avasta, their spiritual level of that man has gotten so high with what you taught them that day, but we've been following you for years and we haven't even got an ounce of what that man has. And Swamiji's thinking to himself, I swear I cussed that man. Like, what is going on here, right? So he calls the guy over. So the followers bring the follower over. And he goes, Swamiji, thank you so much. He goes, thank you. Swamiji says, thank you for what? He goes, what you taught me that day. He goes, God is very pleased with me now. Swamiji's thinking, huh? He goes, what did I teach you? He goes, you gave me a mantra to repeat. He goes, I didn't give you a mantra. All I did was, I told you to get out of my house. He goes, yes, exactly. He goes, Pajta, lotta marange. He goes, when you said Pajta, you meant run away from worldly affairs. You know, like how we are like jealousy and irka and all this worldly stuff that messes us up. Pajta, run away from all of that. Otherwise, lotta marange. Swamiji, you said if I don't run away from all these worldly affairs, I'm going to get caught up in this jug of being born over and over again, just like water gets caught in that jug. Otherwise, I'm going to get hit with that same jug if I don't run away from these worldly affairs. Swamiji's thinking, bah. He's thinking, look at that. The one got so pleased with that person because what they were saying was said with so much innocence, so much love, so much devotion that their spiritual level got so high. They got so close to the one just from that. Okay, so Guru Nanak Dev Ji went on to say, Akhe, mangehe, dehe, dehe. So utter, beg, things. So we always beg for things, right? When we speak. We want so much. And Maharaj says, Daat kare datar. That gifts, that giver keeps on giving. Right? That datar, that giver keeps on giving us these gifts. So when it comes to gifts, there's so much. We've covered in the last couple of weeks. There's so many different types of gifts. Like Gurjanan Singh talked about the very simple gifts in life. Right? And a story that comes to my mind, I've said this before, so forgive me if you've heard this before, but I went to a camp once, and in the Langar hall, sat by himself was a Virji, and I sat with him just randomly, and he was writing in a book. And I was like, Virji, what is that you're writing in, if you don't mind me asking? He goes, I'm writing a diary. But he goes, unlike a diary where I just write down everything that happened in my life, he goes, in this diary, I only write down what I'm grateful for, nothing else. every single day, every single page, I am grateful for this. Thank you, WhyGuruji, for this. And this book was about that fat, and he was almost to the end. And I was sitting there. I'm still perplexed at how he could do it. But I was thinking, if I wrote down things that I'm grateful for every day, I wouldn't be able to fill up more than a page. And he's filled up a whole book. And I said, if you don't mind me asking, like, what is it you're writing now? You've been writing this for so long. Like, what are you still writing that's new? And he turned this book and he goes, look, he goes, I'm at a stage now. And what was written in his book was, I'm grateful for the exhale. I'm grateful for the inhale. I'm grateful for my eyes closing. I'm grateful for my eyes opening when I blink. And I was like, wow, look at that. All these things that we're grateful for, they're still quite high level. But here is a Gursik who's taken it to such a level that with every breath, he's grateful. I said, why do you do it? He said, I'm in a constant state of bliss. He goes, I'm so happy. He goes, I'm more happy now than I've ever been in my life. And that's just because I'm focusing on all these gifts that Datar, that one, has given me. So now the Siddhs ask two questions, two really important questions to Guru Nanak Dev Ji. They say, Phir ki agge rakhiye. What can we place in front as an offering? Jitta disse darbar, which will grant us a glimpse of the one. And the second question they ask is Mohon ki bolan boliye. Jitta sun tare pyar. What can we say with our mouths verbally that we can experience this love? By hearing those words, we can experience this love of the one. So these are two of the most fundamental questions in Sikhi. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Amrit Vela. Amrit Vela. Nice time in there, thank you. Amrit Vela. Amrit Vela Sachna. Vadiyai Vichar. So they say, Amrit Vela, there's a time for Amrit. There's a time. So Mrit means mortality. Amrit means immortality, cannot be killed. So there's a time for that, Maharaj is saying. And in that time, what should we do? Use Sachna, this true name, this Gurbani part that we've been blessed with from our Guru, to Vadiyai Vichar, to speak about the greatness of that one. And if you think about it, no matter what the prayer is, it's always about how great the one is. It's always about their creation, right? So we're just going to break this down a little bit. So when it comes to Amrit Vela this time, so Guruji says it's in the Chauthe Peher. Chauthe Peher. It's in the fourth Peher. So one Peher is 3 hours long. Bear with me here. One Peher is 3 hours long, and there's 8 in a 24-hour day. So the day starts at 6 a.m. and finishes at 6 p.m. So you've got one Peher, 3 hours, 2 Peher, 3 Peher, 4 hours, all 3 hours long. Then you've got the night. The night starts at 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Maharaj is saying, Chauthe Peher. Chauthe Peher sabah ke surtiya upje chao. That during that time, that fourth Peher of the night, the early hours of the morning, so roughly speaking, between about 3 to 6 a.m., that's an Amrit Vela. It's a very special time for us to connect with the one. And when we do that, our consciousness rises. Now, I'm going to ask you guys a question. I'm not going to pick on anyone. Can I just have a show of hands? Who's ever done an Amrit Vela here or attempted to do Amrit Vela here? I'm not going to pick on anyone. Can I just get a show of hands? Just want to get a feel. Okay, brilliant. That's probably most of you. Brilliant. Okay. So I want you guys to think, if someone came to you today and said, right, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is telling me Amrit Vela Sachna Vadiyai Vichar. Guru Nanak Dev Ji is telling me to wake up in the early hours of the morning. What sort of tips would we give that person? Imagine no one's ever done this before. It's the first time they've even heard of this. What sort of tips could we give that person, do you think? Has anyone got any suggestions before I start coming to the Sevadars? Hanji, Darshan Kaur. That's a brilliant one. So when you wake up in the morning, don't say, I'm just going to close my eyes again for 2 minutes. You never wake up again, right? Until it's too late. Hanji, that's a brilliant one. Any others? Hanji, Benji. Sleep on time. Sleep a bit earlier. Brilliant. Any others? Yes, bro. Don't look at your phone. Before you sleep. Is this the like the daylight hours affecting your eyes kind of thing? Yeah, I've heard about this. The blue light, right? It tricks your brain into thinking it's daytime. Yeah, I've heard about this. Okay, that's a good one. Hanji Benji. Ooh. That's a really good one. It reminds me of a story a Guru Sikh told me. They're actually in the room. I'm not going to say their name in case it embarrasses them. But they say for their Amrit Vela, they put their phone on the most annoying alarm sound possible and they put it right on the other side of the room. So that is so annoying. They have to get up. He's looking at me now, like getting all worried. They have to get up right to the other side of the room, switch off this alarm. And by that point, you've already done the hard part. You're already up out of your warm bed, right? It's a brilliant idea. Thank you. Any others, Hanji? Eat less. Okay, that's an interesting one. So I guess when you eat more, do you mean it's like just quite heavy on your body? It's harder to wake up? Yeah? Interesting. Eat less. That's a really good one. Hanji, any others before? Yes, bro. Brilliant. Do ardas, do a plea to Maharaj. Say, Maharaj, look, I'm going to take this step. Please help me. And I saw another hand go up over here. Yes. Sorry, say that again. You've started doing Mool Mantra. Okay. So you force yourself to keep reciting it. So you told yourself, I'm not going to stop until I've got up and had my shower. That's a really, I've never heard of anyone doing that. That's a really good one. Hanji, any others before we move on? Yes, Benji. Accountability. Ooh, what do you mean by that, if you don't mind me asking? Okay, so Benji said that there's a couple of them that hold each other to account. So they do it as a group, I'm assuming, right? You all do it together. That's lovely. That's a really nice one. Any others before we move on? Yes, bro. Good evening. Have loads of water before you go to sleep. Anji. Okay. Thank you, good Jeevan Singh. That's a really good idea. Okay. So this Amrit Vela, if we look at it from a quote unquote outsider's point of view, someone's never heard of this. It sounds very hard. It's not an easy thing to do, believe me, waking up in the early hours of the morning, especially when you're someone who loves their sleep so much as me. It's not easy. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji is telling us to do this, but it's not an easy thing for us to do. And Guruji knows it's not easy. They say Satguru ki seva gakri. To serve your Satguru is very gakri, is very difficult. It's not easy. Guruji is saying this themselves, they know it's not easy. But then they go on to say, Sir dijiye aap gavai. Give your head, give your logic that's saying that those hours are for sleeping, not for anything else, aap gavai. Lose this sense of self. Lose this ego. So when it comes to Amrit Vela, we got to think, does Guru Nanak Dev Ji want to hurt us? Of course not. They don't want to hurt us. All they've come to do is give us the truth. And the only reason that truth is going to hurt us is because we're quite far away from it yet. The closer we get to the truth, the less it's going to hurt. So even though it might sound a bit alien waking up early in the morning, if we try it with Guru's Kirpa, it'll get easier over time. It actually becomes an act of love, not just an act. Because the real question is, if Guru Nanak Dev Ji opened our heart right now, they looked into the most deepest part of our heart, and they said, right, what is it you love? Let's take a look. What is it? And they bring up this pie chart. I should have done it. A little pie chart of all these things we love, right? They would maybe they'd say, Ha Sikha, you love me, you love your Guru, but you love your sleep just a little bit more. They might say, Ha Sikha, yes, you love me, you love your Guru, but you like your Netflix shows a little bit more. Those shows that you watch until the early hours of the morning, you love them just a little bit more yet than you love me. So all we've got to do is realize that it's our logic that's in the way. Sir dijiye aap gavai. And we've just got to do what our Guru's telling us. We can start off small, but let's take that step. No matter how big or small we think it is, a small step for us is a massive step for Guru Nanak Dev Ji. All we got to do is take that step. So Maharaj says, at that time, utthe amrit vandiye. At that time in the morning, amrit vandiye. To vandana means to distribute. So amrit gets distributed to those that are up at that time. Imagine Guruji doing a little register. Right, who's up? Yes, so-and-so sings, so-and-so called. Yes, this person's up. My daughter here is up. My son there, they're up in the morning. Why wouldn't Guruji bless us? Why wouldn't they bless us? They're telling us to do something really hard and we're just doing it. Of course they're going to bless us. Maharaj says that those who do this, they earn good karams. Right? These are good karams. This is a good thing to do. And what happens to those who follow it? Maharaj goes on to say, they become golden. Outside and inwardly, they become golden. They become purified through doing this Amrit Vela. Okay, quick question for you guys. What else can Amrit Vela mean? So we know it's a specific time of day, but what else could Amrit Vela mean? Any ideas on Gar Singh? I'm going to come straight to you. Sorry to put you on the spot, bro. So Amrit Vela, so when Guru Nanak Dev Ji says Amrit Vela to us, yes, it can mean a certain time of the day, but what else could Amrit Vela mean, do you think? Beautiful, Hanji. So Viji, for anyone that didn't hear, Viji said that even what we're doing now, so, excuse me, just like in the early hours of the morning, we could either be sleeping or watching our shows or playing our video games. Even now on a Sunday evening, we could be doing anything. We could be anywhere, but we're here in the middle of Southall, all sat together, all sat around Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. Even this is an Amrit Vela. We're in Sadh Sangat. So this is an Amrit Vela just coming here as well. It also means a couple of other things. Does anyone want to have a go? Amrit Vela. Gurjaran Singh, any ideas at the back there? Your childhood? Interesting. Okay. So Viji said it could be your childhood. When you're young, you're very innocent. Right? You're a better child than me, bro. I wasn't innocent at all. But anyone else? Any other ideas for what Amrit? Think about the word Amrit. Yes, Benji. Time of connection? Yes, brilliant. That's a really good answer. Could be a time of connection. That is your Amrit Vela. Any others? Okay. So one thing Guruji says is that even Kaljug, even this dark age, what we call, you know how we say like society is going down the drain, it's going really bad. Even this is an Amrit Vela. But why would that be an Amrit Vela? Why would this dark age of ours that we're in right now, why would this be an Amrit Vela for us, do you think? Anyone got any ideas? Yes, Darshan God. Beautiful. So Darshan Gaur said, if you stay connected, even though you're in the midst of so much darkness, that is an Amrit Vela. So it's an Amrit Vela because it was this age that Guru Nanak Dev Ji came to us. It was in this age that they blessed us with this Sikhi, they blessed us with this truth. So even though we're surrounded by so much chaos, internally and externally, we've still got Guru Nanak Dev Ji sitting right next to us. Right? That's an Amrit Vela. Okay, so last couple of lines then. The Siddhs asked Guruji at this point, they said, look, can't we just do good deeds? Can't we just be good people? You know, people say it all the time. Can't we just be good people? Why do I need to do Amrit Vela? Why do I need to wake up early in the morning? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Karmi ave kapara. So through our good actions, we've got this kapara, this robe, this body of ours, right? This body through which we can actually connect to the One. We've got this kapara now because we've done so many good things in our past. But then they go on to say, Nadri Mokhdwar, that the Nadri, the grace of our Guru, that Gur Prasad we spoke about in Mool Mantar, it's that that gets us through this door of salvation, right? So just like we said earlier with Guruji blessing those to meet with the One, that's through Guru Prasad, and that's really all we're trying to do, right? It's just an honest effort to follow our Guru. Okay, so Guru Nanak Dev Ji finishes off the fourth body by saying, Nanak e ve janiye, sab ape sachiar. So they say Nanak is saying, understand this. Sab ape sachiar. All own truth. Now, when I first read this translation, I was quite confused. Does anyone want to have a crack at what this might mean? What is Guru Nanak Dev Ji saying here, do you think? They're saying, understand this, all own truth. Yes, Darshan. Ooh, that's a good one. Know your purpose. Yes, I'm going to give you the points. Well done. Know your purpose. So what Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying is, through following your Guru, you get blessed. And when you get blessed, you see this truth everywhere. You see this truth in every being. You don't see male, female, black, white, religious, not religious, Southalian, not Southalian. You don't see any of these labels that separate us. You just see the One. Right? So Maharaj is saying, Sab ape satyar. You become true yourself. Okay. I'm just going to finish off with this video and I'll explain why I'm going to play it afterwards. WhyGuru. Does anyone recognize this program? Was anyone there? Anyone? Hanji. Anyone else? Hanji, gonna be saying, what program was it? Yeah, cheater. It's a bit of a trick question, Hanji. So this was the last day of a Simran job that took place for Bhaiji Garaj Singh's first Barsi. A Barsi being an anniversary of their passing. And it was a very special day. So much went on. It was very jam-packed. Now, this wasn't actually in my presentation up until a few hours ago. I was asked to give a very something personal to do with Amrit Vela. So my story is, this is the first Barsi I'd ever been to. And even though I was going through something so difficult at that time, I didn't leave listening to the Kirtan. Part of me wanted to get out of there and just go home. But part of me just thought, you know what, I have to stay. I have to stay. You know what Baisal says at the end of these sessions? He says, just stay. It's only a couple of minutes. Just stay. It's that same sort of angel and devil type scenario I had on me at that time. So what happened was I stayed for the whole Kirtan until the end of the program, and it was beautiful. It was so powerful, as you've heard. This was the first night I was ever blessed in Guru Kirpa to do an Amrit Vela. And I didn't put any alarm on. I didn't want to do it. I had no plan on doing it at all. But at about 3:15 in the morning, for the first time in my life, I just woke up. My eyes were just wide open and I felt so awake, not even groggy in the slightest. And I thought, right, I got up, I read a Japji Sahib and I went straight back to bed. That's all I'd done. And really, if I'm honest, I can't define exactly what the feeling was, but I knew it was because of I was in Guruji's Sangha, just like Viji said earlier. I was in the right place. And that's what caused this to happen, not anything to do with me. So what happened from then on, gradually over a couple of weeks, I just started adding a bit of Bani, a few minutes of Simran. So Japji Sahib was taking me about 8 to 10 minutes. Then I'd add a Chobe Sahib because I was already quite familiar with that. It was only adding on another 5 minutes or so. So the point here is, I'm not saying this because I'm someone great or this is a great example. It's really not. I'm just giving a very personal account of what worked for me. And that might work for you and it might not. But the gradual steps, that really worked for me. And Guru Kirpa, just keep doing ardas like Viji said earlier as well. And just slowly, it just built from there. Okay. So we've come to the end. So just a quick recap. Today we spoke about the true king, Sache Parchar. We looked at the story of Guru Hargobind Sahib and Emperor Jahangir. The love language. We looked at the story of Swami Ramanand and their follower. The gifts of the one giving us so many gifts, even blinking and breathing, these are all gifts. Amrit Vela, right? What all the different meanings to Amrit Vela. We covered the Guru's grace. That's really what we're here to earn. That's all it is. We're here to make our Guru happy. And then it's the truth. Once we get that grace, we can literally see and experience the truth. So before we wrap up, are there any questions from the Sangat? Any question, any vichar, any thoughts of your own, maybe your own experience that you might want to share? Hanji. Hanji. Okay, so the Siddhs were, what the Siddhs would do, they were quote unquote holy people, but their form of worship was normally penance, very severe penance, to actually put their bodies through a lot of pain. So one thing they would do is they would hold one of their arms up forever. They would never let their arm drop. Imagine like how much your arm would ache just after 10 minutes of holding it up to the sky. They would go their whole life as an act of devotion. The reason why Guru Nanak Dev Ji was different is because Guru Nanak Dev Ji blessed them with Naam. They said, you're doing all of these things, but you haven't got the Naam. Right? It's the experiences through the Naam. Is that right, bro? Hanji. Any others before we wrap up? WhyGuru. Okay, guys, thank you all so much. Please forgive me for all the mistakes I've made. And let's finish off with a Fateh Ji. WhyGuru Ji Ka Khalsa.